Seeing that no one else was willing to bid, Blood Rose raised her delicate hand and lightly tapped the auction gavel on the crystal platform. Since there are no further bids, the 9 demon worm is sold to room 4 for 80 million. The hammer struck down. Sold. Rest assured, the item will be delivered to you after the auction concludes, Blood Rose added, noticing the subtle tension from room 4, as if sensing their impatience. 80 million for that thing. Seems a bit excessive, Xiaoyan muttered in room 5. Heh, the value of the 9 demon worm goes far beyond 70 million, a voice echoed in Xiaoyan's mind. It was Long E, speaking from the ancient ruler of heavenly flames. With enough venom, the 9 demon worm can evolve into the 9-eyed demon worm, which could be used as a cauldron, allowing its owner to directly absorb its energy and boost their strength. I remember hearing about a human 8-star Do D who managed to break through to Do Xian by relying on the 9-eyed demon worm's power, Long E added. Damn it, I missed out, Xiaoyan exclaimed, scratching his head in frustration. Given his extensive knowledge of poisons, Xiaoyan was confident he could find enough venom to help the worm evolve. And with his soul power and heavenly flame, he felt certain he could neutralize the toxins. Now that he realized the worm's immense potential, he couldn't help but feel regret. 80 million gold coins was a drop in the ocean for an alchemist of his caliber, a peak, first-rank, imperial-class alchemist. Since the first item has been successfully auctioned, let's move on to the second item, Blood Rose announced, gently setting the 9 demon worm aside for the staff to carefully secure. The crystal platform glowed again, and this time, a large cage appeared on the stage. What's that? Is that a person? How could this be? Isn't it illegal to auction off humans? The Xinling royal family has strict laws against that. The murmurs of disbelief spread across several private rooms. What on earth is this? Xiaoyan muttered as he stared blankly at the cage on the crystal platform. Inside the shimmering silver cage, created from Do Qi, was a girl lying motionless, resembling a sleeping beauty. She was wrapped in a silver robe, her face hidden beneath long hair. Is that a girl? Mu Yingying, standing beside Xiaoyan, was equally shocked, her eyes filled with surprise. They're auctioning off a human girl? Disgusting. Mu Yingying thought bitterly, her emotions stirred by the sight. Please, allow me to explain, Blood Rose began. As you can see, this girl may look human, but she is not fully human. She is the offspring of a Medusa clan member and a human. Many of you may already know about the long-standing feud between the Xinling royal family and the Medusa clan. As a result, children born from such unions are often subjected to mistreatment and prejudice. The owner of this serpent girl has decided to auction her off due to her unusual abilities, Blood Rose continued. She reached into the cage, gently brushing aside the girl's long hair, revealing her face. The girl flinched in fear at the touch of Blood Rose's delicate hand, her body trembling visibly. Moments later, the girl's face was fully revealed. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her features as delicate as a porcelain doll. She's gorgeous. What a stunning girl. If I could take her home and train her. Several lecherous voices from various rooms echoed, their intentions clearly unsavory. At such a young age, the girl already had remarkable beauty, and it was easy to imagine how captivating she would become as she grew older. Wait a minute. Those eyes. Xiaoyan's gaze locked onto the girl's face, specifically her eyes, which held a strange and striking peculiarity. One eye was a deep brown, like a normal human eye, but the other? It was a dazzling, triangular pupil with 3 distinct colors, the azure serpent triflower pupil. This was the same unique trait that Xiaoyan had seen in the girl Qinglin back on the Do Qi continent. An eye capable of controlling all serpent-like magical beasts, a terrifying power. That's the azure serpent triflower pupil. Xiaoyan exclaimed internally, his mind racing as he recalled how Qinglin's pupil had once dominated the fearsome 9 Nether-Earth underworld python. As you all can see, Blood Rose continued, this girl's eyes are unique. One is a normal human eye, while the other seems to be connected to the legendary azure serpent triflower pupil. The powers of the azure serpent triflower pupil are well known. It's a natural enemy of all serpent magical beasts. Blood Rose withdrew her hand from the girl's face, noting the fear in the child's eyes. Given the rarity and value of this girl's unique condition, we will not be accepting bids in gold coins. Instead, the bidding will start with pills, alchemy recipes, or other rare treasures. Feel free to place your bids. Every offer will be carefully evaluated by our Xinling royal family to determine the winner, she announced with a smile, knowing that the girl's unique power would spark a frenzy of bids. Is this really the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil? Blood Rose mused silently. When she had looked into the girl's eyes earlier, she had felt something off, but couldn't quite put her finger on it. Azure Serpent Triflower pupil? Has the Xinling royal family lost their minds? The Xinling royal family and the Medusa clan are mortal enemies. If this truly is the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil, they would spare no effort in nurturing her. Once she fully matures, the Medusa clan would be at their mercy. Mu Feng muttered angrily in room 5 after hearing Blood Rose's announcement. Azure Serpent Triflower pupil. Something doesn't seem right, Xiao Yin said, deep in thought. I've fought alongside someone with this eye before, but this girl, something feels off. The girl's pupil seemed identical to Qinglin's, but Xiao Yin couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, though he couldn't pinpoint exactly what. You can't figure it out because it's not the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil. It's the Cauldron Triflower pupil. Elder Zhu, sitting nearby, finally spoke. Cauldron Triflower pupil? Xiao Yin frowned, unfamiliar with the term. Heh, it's no surprise you've never heard of it. Very few know about it. I only encountered it once, in the Deathly Desert, which is why I can recognize it now. The Cauldron Triflower pupil looks almost identical to the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil, but if you look closely, you'll see a small black in the center of the 3 triangular petals in her eye. That's the key difference. And the power of the Cauldron Triflower pupil is the opposite of the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil. While the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil dominates all serpentine beasts, the Cauldron Triflower pupil attracts them. It serves as a sort of cauldron, storing energy until it's ripe for serpent beasts to devour, greatly enhancing their strength. But it's a cruel ability. It works only on serpent beasts, and its methods are particularly brutal. That limits its potential, Elder Zhu explained, his voice tinged with disgust. Though the girl was a hybrid of human and Medusa, it didn't justify treating her as a mere auction item. Xiao Yin, we have to get her. Mu Yingying turned to Xiao Yin, her eyes firm with determination. We can't let her fall into the hands of bad people. Agreed, Xiao Yin responded immediately. In room 1, Xian Mu, who had been mostly quiet after the earlier bidding for the 9-yin demon worm, suddenly grew animated. Father and the others must be going senile. How could they auction off something this valuable? Xian Mu muttered in disbelief, his gaze fixed on the girl on the stage. Prince, calm yourself. The king must have his reasons. It's best we stay out of this, the elderly man beside Xian Mu advised cautiously. Though he wasn't sure why, something about the situation felt off to him, and he didn't want to risk involvement. Whispers, whispers. It's the Azure Serpent Triflower pupil. We have to get it, no matter the cost. Evil murmurs filled the air from other rooms, with some hinting at darker intentions. Everyone, please begin placing your bids, Blood Rose said, giving the bidders a moment to gather their thoughts before lifting her hand to signal the start. I offer a recipe for a first-rank Imperial mysterious pill called 9 Heavens Bone-Breaking Marrow. It's a healing elixir, particularly effective for regrowing lost limbs. If taken within 3 days of an amputation, a new arm will grow back, perfectly synced with the body. A deep voice rang out from room 10. Tisk, Peske. They really are willing to spend big, Xiao Yin muttered under his breath, astonished at the extravagant bids. The recipe for a first-rank Imperial mysterious pill is far more valuable than the pill itself, he thought, fully aware of the immense worth of alchemy recipes. As an alchemist, Xiao Yin knew better than most that a pill's formula was the most precious asset. Pills and medicinal ingredients were consumed and used up, but a recipe could be passed down through generations, bringing untold prosperity to any who possessed it. This was why alchemy formulas were so highly prized. Suddenly, another bid came from room 14. I offer a first-rank Imperial Earth pill. tribulation-breaking pill, which can greatly reduce the power of the heavenly tribulation encountered by a 6-star Do D. Tribulation-breaking pill? Mu Feng's eyes lit up with excitement. That's an incredible item. Even after soaking in the Xinling royal pool, the heavenly tribulation faced during the breakthrough to 6-star Do D is no joke. Adding this tribulation-breaking pill would definitely increase the odds of success. Mu Feng's excitement was palpable, as he could feel the Xinling energy he had absorbed from the royal pool stirring within him, lying dormant until he reached the threshold of 6-star Do D. From room 7 came another shocking bid, a first-rank Imperial Heavenly Pill, Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart. The crowd gasped. The Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart was well known to be an extraordinary pill. It could help a perfect 8-star Do D give birth to the force of life and death, the key to breaking through to 9-star Do D. The entire auction house buzzed with astonishment. Even the occupants of room 1 were shaken. The Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart actually exists? Xian Mu narrowed his eyes, clearly stunned by the sudden appearance of such a rare and powerful item. We need to keep an eye on whoever bid that item. If they're willing to offer something so valuable, they must be someone formidable, the elderly advisor beside Xian Mu said gravely. Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart? Elder Zhua, in room 5, who had been reclining lazily, suddenly perked up at the mention of the item. To break through to Do Xian, you must first perfectly fuse the force of life and death within your body. Only then can you become a true Do Xian. As for me, I've reached half-step Do Xian, with the force of life and death already quite thick inside me, but I haven't managed to achieve perfect fusion. If I could obtain the Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart, perhaps I could finally break through, Elder Zhua said, his interest clearly piqued. This pill could be the key to becoming a true Do Xian. It's a marvelous item, Elder Zhua added. But as Xiao Yin was about to speak, he was cut off by the elder. Let them fight it out first. We'll swoop in when the time is right. Elder Zhua grinned, his strategy already in place. Xiao Yin and Mu Yingying exchanged glances, both stifling their laughter. It seemed Elder Zhua was quite confident, truly deserving of his status as a half-step Do Xian. The auction hall grew more intense after the Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart was introduced. Only the strongest attendees understood its terrifying potential, and most of them were 8-star Do D powerhouses or higher. Keep a close watch on room 7. We must obtain that Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart, no matter who wins it. Similar thoughts echoed in the minds of many across the auction house. Inside room 7, 2 figures sat. One was a man dressed in white, and the other was a smaller figure. If I could have unlocked the full potential of the Dual Pattern Yin-Yang Heart, do you think I'd be auctioning it? The white-robed man smirked. No matter. The Cauldron Triflower Pupil is also a priceless asset. If we nurture it properly, it could serve as a stepping stone to becoming a Do Xian. When that happens, all of the mystic 3 heavens will be ours, he laughed boisterously, his voice echoing through the private room. Young master, don't celebrate too early, the elder next to him warned. Even if you win the bid, leaving here with the item will be a challenge. I'll be relying on you this time, elder, the young man replied, his mood calming as he turned to his companion. Of course, the elder replied quietly, falling silent afterward. Any more bids? Blood Rose asked, her voice carrying across the auction house. The young girl's incredible value had clearly stirred the bidders, and Blood Rose was quite pleased with the outcome. Wait. Just as Blood Rose was about to bring down the hammer, a powerful voice rang out. I bid the recipe for a Do D pill. The moment the bid came from room 8, the entire auction house fell into stunned silence. A Do D pill recipe? Whispers of shock and disbelief spread like wildfire. Many couldn't comprehend why someone would bid such a high-value item for the serpent-girl. The Do D pill was well known. It could directly elevate a 5-star Do D to the next level. The mere mention of the pill could make entire families and powerful sects covet it, and the recipe for such a pill was even more precious. Chun Xin, the Cauldron Triflower Pupil, you're not planning? In room 8, an elder turned to the man wearing the expensive alchemist robes. Heh, some might call it disgraceful, but we can't let this girl fall into the wrong hands. Besides, even if someone gets the Do D pill recipe, The chances of successfully refining it are extremely low. There's no need to worry, Chun Xian responded, smiling confidently. A badge bearing the insignia of a 2-star, 3-pattern Imperial Alchemist slowly emerged from his chest. 2-star, 3-pattern Imperial class. Chun Xian was no ordinary alchemist. He was an alchemist at the peak 2nd-rank Imperial class, one of the most feared and respected ranks. Rumors circulated that Pill Valley housed 3 great alchemists, Pill King Chun Xian, Pill Demon Tianyi, and Pill Immortal Wang Yu. As the lowest ranking of the 3, Pill King Chun Xian was still a peak 2nd-rank Imperial class alchemist, an almost unimaginable level of mastery. The higher ranks of Pill Demon and Pill Immortal were even more unfathomable, hinting at the terrifying depth of Pill Valley's strength. A Do-Di pill, huh? The only place in all of Mystic 3 Heavens capable of producing such a thing must be Pill Valley. This thought surfaced in the minds of many in the auction hall. Since there are no further bids, the girls' auction will now proceed based on the current highest bids. Please wait while our Xinling royal family appraisal team and the owner of the Azure Serpent Triflower Pupil finalize the transaction. Who will win this rare treasure? Let's wait and see, Blood Rose said with a charming smile. As soon as she finished speaking, a white mist enveloped the crystal platform, and the girl, along with her cage, slowly disappeared from sight. While we await the result of the Azure Serpent Triflower Pupil auction, let's move on to something a bit more ordinary, Blood Rose continued, expertly keeping the atmosphere lively. Everyone's attention shifted to Blood Rose, who now held a small, tattered piece of parchment in her hand. The paper looked worn and torn, making it impossible to discern what it once depicted. However, those with keen eyesight could faintly sense the mysterious aura emanating from the broken scroll. Clearly, anything featured in an immortal class auction was far from ordinary. This is a fragment of a treasure map. Though it's only 1/4 of the whole, our Xinling royal family appraisal team is confident that if all pieces are gathered, it could lead to treasures beyond measure, Blood Rose explained with a soft smile. The starting bid is 1 million gold coins. Please, place your bids. Xiao Yan's gaze immediately locked onto the torn scroll. For some reason, the moment the scroll appeared, he felt a sudden and intense reaction deep within his natal core inscription. A fiery sensation surged from his mud pill palace, as if this broken map fragment was somehow connected to his natal core inscription. The feeling was so intense that it seemed as if the fragment was a missing part of his own core, triggering an instinctive longing. When Xiao Yan had first formed his natal core inscription, he knew that it was only 1/4 of a complete entity. Now, seeing this piece of the map and feeling the fiery resonance, he was certain the two were related. This fragment shares a connection with your natal core inscription. It's worth acquiring, Elder Zhu remarked with a knowing smile. 2 million. Xiao Yan bid calmly. For him, having participated in countless auctions, he understood how cunning bidders could be. He didn't raise the bid too sharply, knowing that in an immortal class auction, many sharp-eyed individuals would be watching closely. A massive bid would only attract unnecessary attention. 2 million for that scrap of paper? Is the guy in room 5 an idiot? Some voices grumbled from other rooms. However, after some thought, many people reconsidered. A number of bidders were prepared to make offers, while others decided to drop out, unwilling to waste resources on a mere fragment. Though the map clearly had value, it was only 1/4 of the whole, and who knew how long it would take to find the other pieces. This fragment is interesting, but we don't have enough funds. Better to let it go, murmured the 2 women from the poison sect. 10 million, came a calm voice from room 1, where Xianmu sat. Clearly, no fool would spend a mere 2 million on something auctioned in such a prestigious venue. 20 million, Xiao Yan followed up, still maintaining a composed tone. Let it go. Those in room 5 are from the incense pavilion, best not to provoke them, an elder in room 1 advised. Wait, something about this fragment is intriguing. Xianmu's curiosity was piqued, despite the elder's advice. Ignoring the counsel, he coldly responded, 30 million. So, room 1, huh? Xiao Yan muttered as he noticed the persistent bids from room 1. With a shake of his head, he decided to withdraw from the bidding. Although the fragment was only a quarter of the whole, continuing to bid would raise suspicion. With prices climbing higher, it wouldn't be long before more astute individuals noticed something special about the fragment. Forget it. I'll find them later. Room 1. Probably someone from within the Xinling royal family, Xiao Yin mused aloud. Mu Yingying and Mu Feng, seated beside him, also relaxed. They knew Xiao Yin, as a peak first-rank imperial-class alchemist, was extraordinarily wealthy, but they were relieved he chose not to escalate the bidding war further, as that might draw even more powerful forces into the fray. Hee, such composure. This boy has great potential, Elder Zhu said with a satisfied nod, glancing at Xiao Yin approvingly. Room 1 has bid 30 million. Any higher bids? Blood Rose asked, scanning the silent auction hall. Seeing no further bids, she announced, in that case, this fragment is sold to Room 1 for 30 million gold coins. With a sweet smile, Blood Rose tapped the auction hammer, signaling the sale of the treasure map fragment. Strange. There must be more to that fragment, Shinmu muttered, surprised by the lack of competition from the incense pavilion. He couldn't shake the feeling that the fragment held more secrets than it seemed, but he decided to drop the matter, waiting patiently for the auction's main event. Hee, I'm sure you've all been eagerly waiting for this, Blood Rose announced, her voice playful yet enticing. After discussions between our Xinling royal family appraisal team and the owner of the Azure Serpent Triflower Pupil, the winning bid goes to the one who offered the dual pattern Yin-Yang heart. She held up a slip of white paper with a few lines of text, confirming the decision. The dough D pill recipe was outmatched? Not really surprising. The dough D pill recipe is aimed at nurturing the younger generation, while the dual pattern Yin-Yang heart is more useful for those seeking top-tier combat power. If I were in their shoes, I'd choose the Yin-Yang heart too, voices from nearby rooms commented. The auction house is filled with powerful individuals today. But when all is said and done, the true fight over these treasures will happen later. Once we leave, Elder Zhu chuckled knowingly. He already anticipated that the Cauldron Triflower Pupil girl, now in the possession of Room 7, would stir even more chaos later. What do you mean, Master? Mu Feng asked, puzzled. The Xinling royal family strictly forbids any conflicts within Xinling City or during the auction. However, Elder Zhu paused, smiling. Outside the city, the royal family no longer holds authority. That's when the real action starts, he added. Many factions have already stationed their experts outside the city, just waiting for their chance. Seems like it's going to be a challenge. Xiao Yin shrugged, already understanding the deeper implications. He turned his gaze back to the auction, focusing on Blood Rose. And now, it's time for the main event of this auction. Blood Rose's voice rang out. As she spoke, a large platform began to rise from beneath the crystal stage. The circular platform was about 10 feet in diameter, gleaming silver and clearly forged from a rare metal. At the center of the platform, a glowing white Dou Qi shield surrounded the item within, obscuring it from view. As the Dou Qi shield gradually dissipated, everyone in the auction hall could sense the terrifying power contained within it. The strength of the shield alone was formidable, so strong that even an 8-star Dou D would have difficulty breaking it in a short amount of time. What could this be, to require such heavy protection? Many in the audience wondered. The white mist on the crystal platform faded, finally revealing the true appearance of the object on the silver metal pedestal. Underneath the Dou Qi shield lay a vibrant, dragon-eye-sized scarlet pill. The pill glistened with a radiant red hue, immediately marking it as no ordinary item. Encircling the pill was a miniature, lifelike dragon, coiling around it as if it were alive. This is the Fire Kirin pill, Blood Rose announced with a smile, her long eyelashes fluttering as her sweet voice echoed throughout the auction hall. Fire Kirin pill? That's what it is? Exclamations of surprise rang out from various private rooms. What's a Fire Kirin pill? Mu Yingying asked, noticing that ever since Blood Rose had mentioned the pill, the atmosphere in the auction hall had reached a fever pitch. The excitement surrounding the pill was even greater than what had accompanied the Cauldron Triflower Pupil and the dual pattern Yin-Yang heart. It's the Fire Kirin pill, Xiao Yin said, his voice tinged with awe. The Fire Kirin pill is a special type of pill. Its main function is to help someone break through their current bottleneck. It's particularly effective for those trying to break through to Dosien. The Fire Kirin pill not only greatly increases the success rate of breaking through to the peak of Do D, but there's also a small chance of summoning an ancient Kirin battle soul after the breakthrough. If you're lucky enough to summon and subdue the ancient Kirin, and it becomes your battle soul after reaching Dosien, your strength will increase exponentially. In other words, if the dual pattern Yin-Yang heart is the key for an 8-star Do D to break through to the peak, this Fire Kirin pill is a divine pill that could help someone break through the Do D peak and potentially summon an ancient Kirin, Xiao Yin explained, his desire for the pill evident in his tone. Even he was tempted by its extraordinary power. As soon as the pill appeared, a vast illusionary scene unfolded above the crystal platform. Dark clouds gathered, and bolts of lightning crackled across the sky. In the middle of this storm, a milky white Kirin emerged, lying in wait. The rich fragrance of the pill wafted from the Kirin's body, filling the auction hall with a scent so potent it invigorated everyone present. The Kirin lifted its head and charged into the storm, clashing with the thundering clouds in a violent explosion. Suddenly, Dan rain, small droplets of medicinal essence, began to fall from the sky as the scent of the pill intensified, spreading throughout the auction hall. What was that just now? That was a pill spirit. This Fire Kirin pill is worthy of being a second-rank Imperial Earth pill. It has such high spiritual intelligence. Murmurs spread throughout the auction hall, especially among those who had recognized what had just happened. The scene we just saw was the Fire Kirin pill challenging the heavens. This is no ordinary pill. The entire hall was abuzz, and even some of the most seasoned attendees could not hide their excitement. That pill, we have to get it, one of the poison sect women said quietly to her companion, her eyes locked on the Fire Kirin pill. If we don't, Master won't be able to break through her current barrier. Without this pill, the woman trailed off, her face reflecting her determination. While it's good, it's probably best if we stay away from this one, came a calm voice from room 1. Let's go, third prince. There's nothing left for us here, the elder in room 1 said, his tone composed. Very well, Xianmu replied, nodding before leaving the room. The fragment he had won earlier would be delivered to him after the auction concluded. In another room, the Blood Blade mercenary group's female leader exchanged a glance with the scar-faced man beside her. This is beyond our means for now. Let it go, she said with a sigh. Gather the mercenaries and contact that Xiao Yin. We'll be heading out soon, the female leader instructed. Yes, leader, the scar-faced man responded before exiting the room to make the necessary arrangements. A Fire Kirin pill. It pales in comparison to the thing we're after in the desert, the female leader muttered to herself. But does that sacred flame truly exist in the desert? She gazed thoughtfully at the center of the auction hall. Getting this pill would certainly make our sect leader very happy, whispered one of 3 cloaked figures in yet another room. The 2 tall and 1 short figures were the same trio sent by Solomon to target Elder Zhu. Of course, the trio had no idea that Elder Zhu had already reached the half-step Dosien stage. If they had known, even with their combined strength, 1 9-star Do D and 2 8-star Do D, they would never have dared to make a move. As the excitement over the Fire Kirin pill grew, everyone in the auction hall was on edge, knowing that this pill was one of the most valuable items to appear so far. Blood Rose smiled sweetly, her voice ringing out once again. Now, let's begin the bidding for this extraordinary Fire Kirin pill.